Hi, Tammy Recker here with TR Seminars, and in the next video you'll hear me interviewing Dr. Don Middleton about the legalization of marijuana and his experiences with helping patients with marijuana use disorder. Dr. Don currently practices addiction medicine at the internationally renowned Meadows Behavioral Health campus in Wickenburg, Arizona, after spending 25 years in private practice, and he's also the author of a new book called Him and Them about the bondage of addiction. I hope you enjoy this video. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more educational opportunities. Thank you so much. You think that was a good idea or a bad idea to have it legalized, but
Could just be opinion.
yeah.
My personal opinion is we could use less stoned teenagers instead of more, but you know.
They're gonna get it anyway, huh?
Well, no, there'll be more. But I mean, everywhere it's legalized, there's more teenagers having access. So, you know, but there's no putting the genie back in the bottle.
So it's there. You look at this head here with all the different substances on it, and anybody can abuse anything. They can abuse exercise, something healthy you can do too much of.
Definitely. It's trying to soothe the pain, an emotional pain. And when you're using it for that, instead of just to enjoy a little bit of, you know, a few minutes of elation, then that's when you end up with, oh, that worked. Oh, I better do that again. Oh, I assign a lot of value to that, and I'll do it again and again and again.
Do you think that cannabis is any more or less addictive than other drugs that are out there?
Doesn't appear to be. It looks like about 9% of the population that uses it abuses it. That's pretty much the same as alcohol and other hard drugs, you know. And the more you use it, the more addictive it is. The younger you start it, the more addictive it is. So it's just like almost everything else.
And so at the Meadows, you see a lot more people coming in to withdraw from this and get help with this, or?
Yeah, well, mostly what it is with the marijuana is that it's a combination of two things. We see people get really bad physical symptoms, like super bad stomach upset that they can't eat. They just throw up constantly. And that's from the marijuana. And then we see a psychiatric syndrome. It's psychosis, like they hear voices and hallucinations and all kinds of things, and really bad psychotic break from it. Wow. And we think that's just because the pot has gotten so potent, you know, that just a couple of little hits is really just throws your brain into a tizzy. The other thing we see is then the psychosocial side of it. We see people not going to class, not going to work, not interacting with family, and just, you know, sitting in front of the video game and playing for 8 or 12 hours a day and not engaging in life. And that's also bad because then they end up losing their apartment or failing out of school or whatever.
He looks even happier though. But
they call that amotivational syndrome, meaning you're just, you know, stoned and lazy, you know.
It's okay to have it out there as a recreational drug, and some people can partake and have an okay time and use it, or they can use it medicinally and start microdosing in all the different ways that I had talked about with the nurse about, you know, how you figure that out. Notices that they are having a problem with it. Where would they look for help or get off of it?
You know, it always starts with just, you know, talking to other people, because any addiction is about isolation, and any addiction is about separating yourself from the world, and the way out of it is to be part of a community and talking to someone that you feel like you can trust. And especially if there's someone that's been there and done that, like that's why AA's always been so famous, not because it's magic, but because, you know, you can walk in there and meet people that have been there and done that and walk the path ahead of you, you know. But yeah, anything can be abused. It's not about the pot. Pot's not evil by itself. Neither is alcohol, and probably no drugs are. It's just about why people use it, and when they use it to soothe pain or soothe emotional pain or whatnot, and it works, and they do it over and over again, certain amounts of people have the genetics that predispose them to too much dopamine, and then their brains actually change structure to make it the only pathway that works then. And then you're compelled to do it even when it doesn't seem to be helping anymore. So
Can you ever get that back?
Pardon me?
Can you ever get that back, or is your brain?
Oh yeah. It's like any other pathway. You just gotta like let's say you walk across the big snowy field, and after you walk 10 or 12 times across it, you got a pathway cut, right? And so going a different way would be stupid because it's real thick and heavy snow, you know. But if there's an avalanche or another huge snowstorm, you got to find a different way to go then, you know. And you just, and it's slow at first, and you know, and it's takes a while for you to beat down the new pathway. But yeah, you can form new pathways. Your brain's always wanting to change. It's just doing the same thing over and over and over again, small changes over a period of time rather than a light switch. Some people are blessed with like instant, I never wanted it again and I walked out. But most of us are kind of like, I knew I wanted to not want it, but it took me a while to where I forgot I needed it anymore. You know, that's the way most of us are.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why massage therapy helps so much, because get that, you know, physical and emotional pain relief, and get to talk to somebody, and you know, it's kind of a nice.
It's human contact. I mean, human contact is everything when it comes to this. We're not designed to be alone. We're designed to be with other human beings, you know, and that's biologically or biblically, either way you want to look at it. We're designed to be with other human beings. And when we're not, like, let's say just biologically, when we're not in the tribe, we're likely to die. When we don't stay with the herd, we're likely to not get food, and we'll get picked off by some predator. We're going to die. And biblically also, God says it's, you know, companionship was good in the creation story, you know. So it's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's why this whole COVID thing's been really bad for a lot of people. So.
Oh, it's wrecking people psychiatrically. Oh, it's just awful. And I don't think we're going to know the extent of it for years, because people are at home alone, absolutely just festering, and no one's checking up on them, you know.
Right. Now they have access to more drugs easily.
Yeah, and let's not even forget 1,600 AA meetings a week in the Valley shut down.
Oh, wow.
That's just AA alone, not including NA and Cocaine Anonymous and Crystal Meth Anonymous. And
is
all
there
those,
marijuana anonymous?
Yeah, it's not a big thing, you know. Mostly those people tend to go to AA just because
I was going to say,
yeah. And there's so much overlap. Almost nobody does just pot. They do pot and alcohol, and no one does just alcohol. They do, you know, they dabble in other stuff. And there is such a thing as Marijuana Anonymous, but there's so few meetings that people tend to just go to AA because there's a zillion meetings. Right. And the steps are the same, you know.
Or for people who say are alcoholics and they're thinking about doing cannabis instead or something like that, you know, that's not going to probably work.
Yeah, we have not seen the marijuana maintenance program be very helpful in alcoholism.
Yeah.
It almost always goes bad, not because they're addicted to pot, but because it decreases their thinking straight, and they decide to have an alcoholic beverage at the same time, and then it's game on again. And you know what? It's about teaching people other tools to soothe their anxiety and their nervousness and their emotional pain, whether it be prayer and meditation or exercise or massage therapy or talking to people or going to meetings, or probably all the above. And when you do those things, they might not come natural to you at first, but after a while, the path gets well worn, and then that's your new way of soothing yourself. And you don't get a DUI, and you don't get thrown in jail, and you don't get divorced, and you don't get fired. It's good. No, yeah. I just know that there's so much emotion on both sides of this argument, you know, and both of them are trying to prove a point beyond what their side actually allows. You know, they're trying to say that it's worse than alcohol or it's better than alcohol, and it's neither. It's just a plant, you know, and it's what we do with it and how we use it. And then there's that genetic thing, and 9% of the population is predisposed to overdo whatever they hook onto, whether it's running triathlons or working 70, 80 hours a week or whatever, you know? So no, I get that. And it's good for people to think on both sides of the aisle before they, you know, the whole world, one of our biggest problems is we're just trying to set this us versus them mentality with regards to everything. And it's not that, it's we. When we can put we together, then we do great. But when it's us and them, then there's always going to be fighting. Yeah. And, you know, people should know that if there's addiction in their family, regardless to what, even if it's alcohol or whatever, they should know they probably got the genetics for it, and they shouldn't be doing substances of inebriation because they're high risk, you know, especially younger people like under 21 before their brain's completely developed. They shouldn't do it. It's way high risk.
They tried it and they really, really liked it, then don't ever do it again.
If it made you feel normal, you should run away.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I have friends that, you know, will do gummies or a vape or whatever, and they do it successfully. And I kind of look at them and go, that ain't me, you know, because I just know that if I do that for a while, my brain's not like that. So,
Yeah.
you know, good on you if you can do it. But if you can't, if you have that in your family, or, you know, if you've had a history of abusing other things, you should just stay way, way far away from that.
Yeah. I think that's the point.